What's up, y'all? We're gonna talk about the Wizard of Oz, the movie Wicked, Wiccan, right? Witch, right? Which goes into the Wendigo, which comes out in winter. Now, I want to make a little connection with the pink and green with the movie Wicked. The pink and green tying to the black Boule sorority, aka, right? Elphaba. L, we talked about L in the Phrygian cap. Look at the Hamza hand that AKAs throw up. And here go the correlation with the pink and green with Wicked. Okay, not to mention the pink and green tying to Freemasonry, Order of the Eastern Star.
There's a lot of people that are concerned for the actresses in Wicked.
Oh yeah, because I seen they're like hella skinny.
There might be something going on during their time shooting, or there's so many conspiracies. Like, people are saying they might have suffered a tragedy together, and then they both have, they're coping with it together, and then they have an attachment.
Yeah, no, in the interviews, they're always
holding hands.
Yeah.
And people are saying they look a little bit unhealthy. They look like they haven't been eating enough.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And it is true. Like, I was looking at pictures. They do look, I don't know, they definitely look sunken in the face.
Yeah, like dehydrated, low-key.
So there's this one lady, and it's going viral on TikTok, but she came out with her explanation spiritually. And this is where it gets weird, because it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, when an actor or an actress portrays a role, embody the spirit of who you have to play.
Yeah, the Jeffrey Dahmer guy, he did that same thing.
Exactly. Now, who are they playing in the film? They're playing witches, bro. Oh! There's a lot of people that are concerned.
Gives a shocking and bone-chilling warning to all parents about why not to take their kids to go see the new Wicked movie. Check this out.
As someone who is an ex-witch that was saved out of the occult by the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, I want to share with you why you should definitely not see the movie Wicked and why you definitely should not let your children see it. I know on the outside looking in, something like this can sound totally crazy, but I want to present to you that that's kind of the point. Pop culture, mainstream media wants you completely and totally desensitized to witchcraft by and large, so it gets to a point where people like me who warn against it seem totally off the rocker, and you don't even consider the true danger of flirting with something like this. Because the more exposed you are to magic through movies like this, through the Harry Potter franchise, the more you are slowly programmed to see magic as something that is normal. And since God created us as intrinsically spiritual beings, we see witchcraft as something that appeals to us in that sense, and the more we're exposed to it, we start to romanticize it ourselves. And by coming into agreement with it in this way, we come under the influence of divination. I'm telling y'all, that is exactly the point. The goal is for your children to come under the influence of witchcraft. They're going to start to idolize the witches, dress up as the characters, get curious about magic, and all that stuff that's happening is a physical manifestation of the spiritual yoke that happens when your kids are groomed by witchcraft. This isn't just a movie, this is a mission. Please listen to me. There is a demonic assignment against this upcoming generation to literally enchant them through the counterfeit signs and wonders of the devil through witchcraft to turn them off from Jesus Christ. He's going to illustrate this false narrative through movies like Wicked that there is something called a good witch and that you can be one too. That being a witch makes you beautiful, that being a witch makes you popular, that being a witch saves the day. But the truth is, witchcraft in all of its forms only leaves you in more bondage than it found you, and there is no such thing as a good witch because all witchcraft is evil. Please do not fall for the deception that this is just entertainment, okay? They cast a real witch to be the witch in this movie for a reason. The two leading actresses literally came into a blood covenant, got tattoos together in order for this movie to perform well, because there is an undercurrent of true divination that is the foundation of this film. It's not just happening on screen, it's happening off screen. So look, don't take your kids to see this movie. Don't even open the door for them. If you want to show them true wonder-working power, then just open up a Bible with them, because those stories are not only supernatural, but they're also true. And they are the authentic version of all of this counterfeit stuff that the devil's trying to perform through magic.
I mean, this was one of the best, most accurate, and
Do you know about the first Wicked movie that never came to the big screen? In the shadowy corners of Hollywood lore, there's a whisper about the movie Wicked, a 1995 production shrouded in tragedy and mystery. Billed as a dark twist on The Wizard of Oz, it was meant to explore the hidden lives of the witches, diving into envy, betrayal, and forbidden magic. But the story spilled off screen. Legend has it that lead actress Anita Moorhead, cast as the misunderstood green-skinned Elphaba, became obsessed with her role. Crew members claimed she spoke to shadows and practiced spells from ancient grimoires. When co-star Liz Bayen, playing Glinda, fell from the studio's balcony under strange circumstances, rumors spread like wildfire. The director insisted it was an accident, but leaked tapes showed Anita muttering incantations during filming, lines not in the script. Production halted after bizarre on-set accidents, including lights exploding and props moving on their own. Anita vanished before the final cut, leaving only a green handprint burned into her dressing room mirror. Years later, the studio quietly shelved the movie, but copies surface on cursed VHS tapes, showing a scene no one remembers filming. Elphaba whispering, "Some stories are too wicked to end."
For Ariana and Cynthia because they think every sequel project like Wicked is also cursed. So here's the crazy conspiracy theory.
I am so scared. I feel like this movie has a curse.
The upcoming Wicked movie might be cursed just like The Wizard of Oz.
Wicked and Wizard of Oz have a curse.
Conspirators think this curse started because the film deals heavily in witchcraft and dark magic. So it invited in demonic energy, cursing the movie and everyone in it. An example of the movie's curse is that the eventual death of Dorothy actress Judy Garland was due to the trauma she faced while filming The Wizard of Oz. Her struggle with mental health, drugs, and alcohol started from being physically and mentally abused on the set by the studio, being forced to go on super strict diets, smoke 80 cigarettes a day to stay skinny, and left him burlap scars.
Let's talk a little bit about The Wizard of Oz and sort of the inspiration of what goes into these films and these sequels, that being of The Wizard of Oz. Because a guy by the name of Mervyn Leroy is actually the main producer of the 1939 film Wizard of Oz and was an active Freemason and a member of the Prince of Orange Lodge number 16. And this Mervyn Leroy character was born in San Francisco to Jewish parents Edna Nee Armour and Harry Leroy. And his family was financially ruined by the 1906 earthquake that destroyed his father's import-export business. Well, the film, The Wizard of Oz, was actually made by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, or MGM for short, which I'm sure we all have heard of at some point watching films, which was actually headed by a guy named Louis B. Mayer, who bought the film rights to the novel The Wonderful Wizard of Oz from Samuel Goldwyn in 1938. Well, it should also come as no surprise that this Mayer guy was also a 33rd degree Freemason, associated with the St. Cecile Lodge number 568 in New York City. Well, it gets even more interesting. Way more interesting. There's a guy by the name of L. Frank Baum, who was the original author and created with the St. Cecile Lodge number 568 in New York City. Well, it gets even more interesting. Way more interesting. There's a guy by the name of L. Frank Baum, who was the original author and creator of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz and the entire Oz universe and the mythology behind it in 1900, right? L. Frank is responsible for all the original characters from Dorothy, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, Emerald City, the Wicked Witch, the Yellow Brick Road, etc. And as we know, this book became one of the most iconic children's stories in American history. But what many people don't know is that the quote-unquote magic inspired in the film wasn't just some fantasy like it was for most people watching the film or reading the books, because for L. Frank, it was very much so real life to him. The magic wasn't just fairy tale. L. Frank Baum was a part of an esoteric movement called the Theosophical Society. So the proper term for him was he was a theosophist, which he joined in 1892. And this movement was founded by someone named Helena Blavatsky, who was a huge inspiration to the one and only, yep, you guessed it, Aleister Crowley. And even the spiritual double meaning behind the Wizard of Oz film is literally rooted in spiritual alchemy. For example, in occultism and theosophical readings, the yellow brick road is seen as a metaphoric, quote-unquote, golden path, a spiritual or mystical journey the soul takes towards higher consciousness or enlightenment. And then the journey along this quote-unquote spiritual or mystical yellow brick road for Dorothy, where she encounters the Scarecrow who was missing a brain, the Tin Man who was missing a heart, we all know it, and the Lion who didn't have courage, was actually another interpretation of how the soul processes intellect, emotion, courage when seeking self-realization or quote-unquote wholeness. Now, for those of you that may feel like that sounds and seems innocent in its nature, it's not, because what this means in alchemy or theosophists, they believe that this essentially means that you don't need God. You're able to go along this journey called life, this spiritual journey, and if you're able to dig deep within, there isn't some outer source, that being Jesus Christ or God or what we believe as Christians, but instead you are your own God. You're able to dig within and you're able to pull it out of yourself. But it gets even worse because the person who played the character Dorothy was a girl by the name of Judy Garland, who, by the way, was only 16 years old when she was filming, and MGM actually viewed her as overweight. Many people don't know that Judy Garland would come out later and expose how she was subjected to extreme calorie-restricted diets, such as soups, lettuce, black coffee, being placed on downers so that she can like I said at the beginning, if you want the uncensored version, and also a successful career, is a reason to be very suspicious about Ariana Grande. Very similar to the girl Sabrina.
This is Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter?
Yes.
What is it doing here?
I'm having people sing it, but I wasn't going to ask you to sing.
You weren't going to ask me to sing?
I didn't think you'd want to.
You're mistaken, ma'am. I'm working late because I'm a singer.
And as a reminder, Ariana Grande is also heavily affiliated with a guy by the name of Dan Schneider, as Ariana Grande has admitted multiple different times and made it clear that she wasn't joking, that she is an actual witch, not just in films like The Wicked, but in real life.
I remember being so swept off my feet by just the story, and the comedy really stayed with me when I was little. I don't think at that point I had seen anything. I mean, I was 10, but I don't think I had seen anything that moved me that way.
Did you meet Kristen that day?
Yeah. I did. She gave me body gel. She says it's bath salts, but it was body gel.
It was something.
It had glitter, and I think it had actual witchcraft magic in it. I really do.
There's no way you get to this without that witchcraft.
I think there's a combination of real magic, manifestation, and hard work that needs to happen for things like this to happen, don't you think?
I think.
Yeah. I'm somewhere in between. I've learned, I don't know, I sit somewhere between being a literal witch,
A literal witch? Literal witch?
I'm not kidding, and being like the most realistic, cut, dry, like.
Both the information about Dan Schneider, his connection to Ariana Grande,
Wicked seems like a wholesome musical for the whole family, but it's actually an indoctrination into the occult through hidden messages of alchemy and the reconciliation of opposing forces, aka the goat with the bobs. For the evolution of man into God, plot spoilers coming. To unlock these godlike superpowers, one needs to channel an entity. In Wicked, we hear Elphaba describe it as something that takes over her.
Something just takes over me, and something I can't control.
Later on in the movie, she reads from the Grimoire and she allows a spirit to channel through her, which is a way the Solomonic methods are used to trigger the magician's subconscious. Lon Milo Duquette tells us the words can be absolute gibberish, it doesn't really matter. When they're given their dormitory assignments, you can see a name on the roster. It's Alistair Charmanti. This is a reference to the occult magician of charms, Aleister Crowley, which makes sense since Aleister Crowley was known as the wickedest man in the world. It's of no surprise to see his cousin's grandson, Nathan Crowley, is the production designer for Wicked. In the occult, there's a progression for mankind. It's called the evolution of consciousness. This is why they show us animals with the ability to talk. Through theosophy, L. Frank Baum believed mankind could unlock superpowers like telepathy, levitation, and clairvoyance, all of which we see in Wicked. Alchemy is the process one takes to become God. That's why we see Elphaba carrying the book of alchemy with a sigil on it. Later on, she channels language from the Grimoire, which is literally the lesser key of Solomon, a spellbook or grimoire used to summon demons, just like the sigil seen on the alchemy book that Elphaba is carrying. She's also got a book with a dragon on it. This is an alchemical reference to the union of opposing forces of red and green dragons. Elphaba, of course, is the green dragon here. When opposing forces are reconciled, it creates what they call the Philosopher's Stone, and it's the union of divine spirit, soul, and body, aka the Great Work. That's why the Great Work is accomplished by going to the Emerald City, which is a reference to the Emerald Tablets upon which Hermes Trismegistus, aka Thoth, gave mankind this hidden wisdom of alchemy. Ariella Grandes has a long history of Kabbalah, so none of this is a surprise to me. In fact, I discussed her occult symbolism in 2018, and YouTube torched my channel. She was depicted as Akati, the goddess of witchcraft, just like Glinda in Wicked. Join me for a full 90-minute breakdown. We'll talk about the inversion tactics from Disney, Wicked's smutty websites, the Gnostic messaging of Wicked. Elphaba gets initiated through a resistance, struggle, and mutation process of ritual magic, which goes all the way back to Theosophy and Zoroastrianism, which is why Oz's full name is Oscar Zoroaster. He's rocking the all-seeing eye necklace, and in the original Oz books, the Wicked Witch of the West only has one eye, because it symbolizes the all-seeing eye of the Enlightenment.